So we've all heard the story of the thirsty crow, right? It's one of those fables from way back. But what if I told you it's not just a children's story, that it's actually a brilliant step-by-step blueprint for creative problem solving and innovation? And that's really the big question we're digging into today. We're going to peel back the layers of this super simple tale, and what you'll see is this powerful framework that honestly applies to just about any challenge you can think of, from a major business strategy all the way down to your own personal projects. All right, so first things first. Every great innovation really starts with a serious problem. The first step in this whole framework is to define the stakes. And for our crowd, well, they couldn't possibly be higher. And I mean, this isn't some minor inconvenience. We're not talking about just being a little thirsty. The original fable literally says the crow was ready to die for want of water. So yeah, this is a life or death situation. That urgency, that's the engine driving this whole process. Without a really pressing need, there's just no real push to find a totally new solution.
And then, just when it seems like all hope is lost, a potential solution appears. But, as it so often goes, right, it comes with a major catch.
Can you just imagine that feeling? That mix of total relief and just crushing frustration? This story says the crow flew to it with great delight, only to find that the one thing that could save him was just out of reach. This is such a classic innovation scenario, isn't it? The answer is right there in front of you, but you just can't get to it with the usual methods. So what does the crow do first? Well, his instincts are pretty telling. He goes straight for brute force. First, he tries to break the pitcher. Then he tries to knock it over. And nope. Both attempts fail. I mean, they're direct methods, sure, but they just don't work. And this, right here, this is that critical moment where pure force has to give way to intellect. And this is the turning point. After failing again and again, the crow doesn't just try harder, he tries different. This is so important. Instead of just doubling down on a strategy that's clearly not working, the crow stops. He just pauses. He takes another look at the situation, but this time from a totally new perspective. He shifts from mindless action to mindful observation. And that is where the real breakthrough happens. That little pause, it made all the difference. The solution wasn't in the pitcher itself, and it wasn't in the crow's own strength. It was lying right there, nearby, the whole time, just completely overlooked. That aha moment, it came from actually observing the environment and seeing its hidden potential.
But of course, an idea is only as good as its execution, right? Finding the pebbles was the big insight, but now came the actual work.
And just notice how methodical this whole process is. It's not some single grand act. It's a series of small, deliberate, repeatable steps. First, identify the tool. Then, pick them up one by one, drop them in, and then just repeat. It really goes to show you that innovation often isn't about one giant leap. It's about the patient accumulation of all these little efforts. And the result of all that patient, methodical work? Total success. The water level rises, and the crow can finally drink. So think about it. The problem wasn't solved by overpowering the obstacle, but by cleverly changing the environment around it. So what's the big lesson we can pull from this, 2,500-year-old case study? Well, it's a principle that has really, truly stood the test of time. Here it is, the story's famous moral, and it's so powerful. The will? Well, that's the crow's desperate persistence, right? He never gave up. But the way? That's what we've really been digging into. It's not just any way. It's a clever, innovative way that was born from a simple change in perspective. Because that way really represents one thing: ingenuity. It's that ability to look at a really complex problem, like water you can't reach, and apply simple, available tools, like a bunch of pebbles, to solve it. See, the crow didn't invent some new tool, he just used an existing one in a totally original way. And that is the absolute essence of ingenuity. And that really brings us to our final thought. The crow's biggest shift wasn't physical at all, was it? It was mental. He stopped trying to force a solution and just started observing. So I want to leave you with this question. Think about it. When was a time that stepping back, really observing your environment, and using a simple tool in a new way helped you solve a problem that felt completely impossible?